This evening, let us explore the 37th verse of the Song of Enlightenment. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. Meditate Like a Jedi is brought to you by the kind folks who support me on Patreon for about $1 a month. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi on the toasty sands of Tatooine under the guidance of the kind Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. At any time during this evening's live stream, when you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. The more specific you are with your question, the more helpful my answer could be to you or for you. Let's dig in. At every stage, all stages, all present, but not in form or mind, and not in what you do. Snap your fingers and countless Dhamma doors appear. 3 kalpas go by in an instant. Let's start with the translator's notes. All stages are present, to which our friend Red Pine wrote, referring to the 10 stages or bhumis of the Bodhisattva path. I think I'll write that down. There we go. Second note from our friend the translator, right here. Dharma doors refer to different teachings of the same indivisible Dharma. And over here, 3 kalpas go by in an instant. 3 kalpas, approximately 4.32 billion years multiplied by 3, are the time allegedly needed for a bodhisattva to achieve Buddhahood. So let's explore that right now. Now, in order to explain that, I'm going to need a chart. So I think I'm going to tap button 2. Ooh, that is really lame. Okay. Okay, much better. So, when we read the 81 chapters of the Tao Te Ching by good old Lao Tzu, we learn that there are yang attributes and there are yin attributes. And we learn that yin is useful if you want to be enlightened, and yang is useful if you want to be a bastard. So if you really want to be a bastard, what you're going to want to do is be rigid and fearful and controlling and elitist and competitive and cruel. Now, there are many meditation teachers who delight in being rigid, fearful, controlling, and elitist. And when these people find that their techniques don't work, they come to a fork in the road. Do they question the teachings, their understanding of the teachings, or their application of the teachings? Or do they just make something up? Well, those without intellectual integrity will just make something up and say, well, this stuff doesn't seem to be working. That's because it takes approximately 12 billion years. Unless, of course, you actually read the Buddha's teachings, and in the Satipatthana Sutta, he teaches that Buddhahood can be accomplished in 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. If you're a teacher who's been practicing for 7 years and he still hasn't mastered the Buddha's teachings, it's time to find a new teacher. Okay, and now it's time for the Easter Bunny. Oh, wait, there's a bit more. Look at that, it's exciting. So, another note. Another note from the translator reads, quoted from the Lankavatara, whatever you can talk about is not it. And the final note from our friend the translator is that this enlightened nature of mine refers to the inherent Buddha nature possessed by all beings. Now that we've thoroughly chopped this up into mincemeat, let's see if we can make some sense of it. And to do that, we're going to chant it one more time. But first, welcome to the live stream. When you have a question about the Buddha's meditation or the Buddha's philosophy or how to apply them, type that question in great detail in the chat window. So now let's chant the 37th verse again. At every stage, all stages were present, but not in the formal mind and not, take two, but not in formal mind and not in what you do. Buddhahood is at hand for each of us, but not in the way that patriarchy has led us to believe. Allow me to elaborate. Sometimes sincerely but dim-wittedly, other times sharp-witted but cruel-heartedly, patriarchy gives us unrealistic and grossly inaccurate definitions of enlightenment. They will say things like, if you are enlightened, you will never be distracted. If you are enlightened, you'll never fall ill. If you are enlightened, you'll never feel an unpleasant emotion. And then they'll watch in glee as their students become increasingly more neurotic. No. Concentration, despite the insistence of hackneyed translators. Concentration is about rigidity. Mindfulness is about flexibility. The Buddha's path is about flexibility. The first enlightenment factor is mindfulness. We cannot become a Buddha or remain a Buddha if we ignore our perceptions. Our job is to perceive, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Our job is to perceive everything, the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. We perceive it all with the utmost of vulnerability. That takes great courage. What do we do with that? We notice it and we release it using the Buddha's techniques. Releasing doesn't mean we shove it away, doesn't mean we hold on tight to it. It means we make peace with it. We make peace with everything, the outer world, the inner world, and all points in between. Enlightenment. So being a bodhisattva is just walking the path of liberation. Being a Buddha is simply mastering that exact same path. Mastering doesn't mean your shit don't smell. Mastering the Buddha path simply means we practice it. Or we've come to the point where we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and habitually. Wait, spontaneously, habitually, easily, yes, and effectively. Let's continue. Snap your fingers and count as Dharma appear. 3 kalpas go by in an instant. The practice of mindfulness, meditation, and empathy is your birthright. Their mastery is easier than you've been told. As for all statements being no statements, that means... Oh, look, I forgot to do the little chanty bit. Let's do the chanty bit. Come on now. Let's try that again. As for all statements being no statements, that means nothing to this enlightened nature of mind. Our bullshit detectors confirm that pseudo-spiritual wordplay does not a Buddha make. How ironic that I just did wordplay. Just because someone can quote the Diamond Sutra doesn't mean they understand it. Statements like this, statements being no statements, is simply a reference to the 2 truths of Nagarjuna. The conventional and the ultimate. Our experience when breathing in, our experience when breathing out, our experience when noticing, our experience when releasing. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And now, let's meditate. The name of my practice text is Secular Meditations and Contemplations of Loving Kindness, True Knowledge, and Liberation, which is adapted from the teachings of the Anapanasati Sutta and the Metta Sutta. Now, this contains a total of 24 techniques. Now, 24 techniques is downright befuddling to creatures like you and I, who have 5 digits on who are limited to really thinking in terms of 5 digits. So it may be easier to think of tonight's collection of exercises as merely 3 sets of 4 contemplations and an additional 3 sets of 4 meditations. That might be doable. We're going to start with Metta Satipatthana's first set of 4 contemplations of love. We're going to begin with the circumstantial. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite feel. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite boon for all. This is a rather cryptic way of saying, from the heart, I sincerely wish that all beings of all worlds enjoy good fortune. We don't have to emote this. We don't have to visualize this. We don't have to believe this. But if we silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our in-breath and our out-breath, we will strengthen the neural pathways responsible for empathy. But don't take my word for it. Put it to the test in the laboratory of your own body and mind by practicing with me right now. We switch gears now from the circumstantial to the physical. From the heart, let us wish that all beings everywhere enjoy optimal health. When we silently and mentally recite the verb feel, our subtle energies center in our chest. We shift gears now from the physical to the interpersonal. Let us love from the heart. Let us wish that all beings everywhere enjoy great love in their relationships. Be those relationships professional, personal, platonic, or intimate. We shift gears again, switching from the interpersonal to the mental. Come on, machine. Wow. From the heart, let us wish that all beings everywhere enjoy great wisdom. We now shift gears and begin working with our first set of meditations to center our bodies. If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. The moment you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, don't waste any time. Immediately type your question in great detail in the chat window. So we come to our first meditation of our first set of meditations. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite one moment. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the verb breathe. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite long exhale. Long exhalations can be quite soothing. We come to the second meditation of our first set of meditations. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the adjective short. During the exhalation, if we wanted to, we could silently and mentally recite the noun breath. So short inhaling is quite invigorating. Now we come to our third meditation of our first set. So during our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the verb taste. This verb, oopsie, come on machine, there we go. This verb acts as a metaphor of noticing. It also helps to center our subtle energies in our navel chakra. During our exhalation, we silently and mentally recite this body. And we're just tuning into whatever we feel, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's overt or subtle. If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. The moment you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy, type them in the chat window. We come to the fourth meditation of our first set of meditations. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the noun form, which functions as a synonym for body. During our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing. In doing so, we will be practicing a very coarse version of awareness and emptiness. For as we relax, our body could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? Glad you asked. As we exhale, our body can feel as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the touch. By the way, we don't force our bodies to relax. We don't have to. You see, every time we breathe out, we involuntarily and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is already wired to physically relax and mentally release. We just gotta sit back and enjoy the ride. We come now to our second set of 4 meditations to center our feelings. During our first meditation, we will savor the first jhana's blissful joy. It flows from gently grinning, with the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes. Grinning at what? Our bodies, of flesh, blood, and bone. No, I gotta warn you, this could be a very energizing meditation. We come now to our second meditation of our second sets of meditation, wherein we will savor the second jhana's peaceful joy. It flows from gently grinning towards our thoughts. Now, our thoughts are an umbrella term for our tendencies to emote and intend and reason and recall and imagine. Playing with the verb think can center our subtle energies, real or imagined, in our upper abdomen. We come now to the third meditation of our second set of meditations, where we could savor the third jhana's contentment. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the verb feel, which basically has two jobs. Number one, it serves as a metaphor of noticing. And number two, it helps to center our energy in our chest, which is quite lovely. So, during our exhalation, we silently and mentally recite the object of our attention, these coarse thoughts, which would be that which we emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. So I'm going to share something very frightening with you. Well, it's frightening if you have a literal mindset. It's boring if you have a flexible mindset. Many people who are rational and skeptical look at the Christian Bible and say, dude, more than 100 years elapsed between the ministry of Christ and the recording of the Gospels. And therefore they take the Gospels with a grain of salt. Well, 5 centuries elapsed between the Buddha's ministry, Gautama's ministry, and the recording of his teachings. Yeah. So we might have translations of transcriptions of texts that go back thousands of years, but you know what? They could be malarkey. The test of a teaching is not how old it is or how popular it is. The only test of a teaching are the effects that we generate when we apply it. It's taken me decades to learn this and to wriggle myself out of my cocoon of fear and conservatism to recognize that, hey, what matters is peace and love and sharing it with others. And if classic techniques don't work, then we have to be reinterpreted. And the only test of an interpretation are the effects that it generates. Therefore, some people look at my teachings and think I'm the second coming of Buddha. Other people look at my teachings and they think he's Satan himself coming to drag us to hell. And I'll tell you, you have one bad hair day and everybody thinks you have horns. We come now to the fourth exercise of our second set of meditations, where we will savor the fourth jhana's neutrality by allowing our thoughts, emoting, intending, reasoning, recollecting, and imagining to tranquilly relax. We come now to our third set of, we come now to Chittasati's third set of meditations, where we shall center our minds. We come now to the first meditation of this third set of meditations, where we will savor the fifth jhana sphere of infinite spaciousness, which is pretty much the object of physically feeling compressed. Now, during the inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the verb watch. Doing so accomplishes two things. One, it's a metaphor for noticing. And number two, watching, playing with the verb watch, helps our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. During the exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite mind's functions. For instance, mind is another umbrella term for our seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. We come now to the second meditation of our third set of meditations. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the verb grin. And during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite to this mind, remembering that mind serves as an umbrella term for the subtle perceptions of sight, of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. During our grin, we want to play with a subtle Mona Lisa grin and allow it to dance upon the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes. As we do this, we will begin savoring the sixth jhana sphere of infinite awareness, which is pretty much the opposite of feeling like our mind is compressed. This is the opposite of that, which is a good thing. We come now to the third meditation in our third set of meditations, where we could savor the seventh jhana sphere of non-graspability. As we allow our minds, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, to relax. So remember, mind. We silently and mentally recite this noun as we breathe in, and as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite This could be described as a subtle practice of awareness and emptiness. We come now to the fourth meditation of the third set of meditations, where we will get the opportunity to savor the eighth jhana sphere of acquiescent non-labeling by experiencing the liberating equanimity of our controlling tendencies to shove and reach. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the noun mind, the delightful umbrella term. And during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite So, in the sphere of acquiescent non-labeling, the only label we use is simply the preposition this. We now come to our second set of contemplations. All right, now it's time for Dhammasati or Anika Vipassana's third set of impermanence contemplations. All right, during the inhale, so we're going to play with a rhetorical question during it, which reads, "What's now changing?" Now, this might not be perfect grammar. This might make an English teacher clutch her pearls, fall off her chair, and frighten the dog. But it's still effective, and like all rhetorical questions, we ask it silently and mentally without striving to answer it. And the weird thing is that it's going to really, really help us to let go even more. You see, fundamentalists try to frighten people with impermanence, but the wise use impermanence not to straighten up and fly right, but simply to see the futility of grasping or shoving. We now come to the second contemplation within our second set of contemplations. Remember, these are rhetorical. So this is a set of 4 contemplations that come in real handy the next time you're hot under the collar about something. We come to the third contemplation within this second set of contemplations. During the inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite what, which is the contraction of what is. During the exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite now ceasing. And we could feel some really interesting sensations in our body and mind when we play with this contemplation. We come to the fourth contemplation of our second set of contemplations. What releasing? We conclude now with Sila Satipatthana's third set of ethical contemplations. So let us silently and mentally wish that each being uses their mind's capacity to intend and uses it in the absolutely kindest way. And may this wish be from our heart. And this is easy to do because the verb feel pretty much collects our subtle energies in our chest in a good way. Let us lovingly wish from the heart that all beings everywhere use their capacity for communication in the absolutely kindest way. We could consider this exercise to be the union of love and voidness. Let us lovingly wish from the heart that each being use their body in the kindest way. And now, for this evening's final contemplation of our final set of contemplations. Let us lovingly wish from the bottom of our heart that each being use their circumstance in the kindest way possible. So what could kind commerce look like? Well, it would look like not being a controlling Karen or a competitive Chad, but instead being a cooperative Bodhisattva. If you feel I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or even support my work on Patreon for about $1 a month. Whether you do or don't, I intend to return in approximately 10.5 hours to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.